Hey guys, Gore here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, instead of the usual boots on the ground live commentary, we're going to be taking things to the sky and showing you all a top-down perspective of how a squad game unfolds from start to finish. I try not to get too tied up in the individual fights, but rather focus on the macro elements of squad. Things like good and bad examples of early, mid, and late game strategies, showcasing what both good and bad hab placements look like, and taking a look at a ton of scenarios to better explain how to move and flank throughout the duration of a game. I hope you guys do enjoy this type of video since it's not a perspective that many often get to see here on YouTube. If you do enjoy the video or find some of the information helpful, consider hitting that like button. It helps get these videos out to a wider audience and lets me know that I should make more of these moving forward. Now, without any further delay, let's get into the game. But one of the things I want to show you guys from the very start, again, I talked about it in the last video, but cutting the map in half and understanding where you can get to. So for this, with this being southeast and northwest, we're going to cut it diagonally. When we cut this diagonally, it basically lands almost right in the middle of the map right here on intersection. Most of the time, if you're the team in the southeast, going here is a safe bet. Going anywhere up along this eastern side is a safe bet. You can usually make it to ammo warehouse quicker. And then for anybody on the northwestern team, whether it's the US or the Canadians, going anywhere on this west bank is always a good idea. There's very few times where the midpoint will not be smack dab in the center, and this is no exception. So having something in the center of the map is really important. Understanding the terrain to get back in there is also very important. So especially for the center of this map, you've got river on both sides and just completely open area. So if you have to cross these rivers on either side, you're in for not a fun time. So we're also going to be looking at some like good hab placement. That's something I want to focus on and show you guys when people are dropping habs, what one looks like that's good and what a bad one looks like. So first of all, this is rushed. He's got a building right here that's got a covered roof on it. Especially these buildings. These buildings are very common, and he puts the hab right next to the radio. This is never a good idea. One A10 strike takes out the radio, takes out the hab. If he would have taken the extra 15 seconds, came up in this building, I like to throw my radio right here, right in this little cutout. It's my absolutely favorite spot. It's so hard to see. Even if he didn't do that, throwing it in this little room down here would have been helpful too. Just keeping it so that if a UAV, because people usually throw UAVs over the center of the map or whatever point's contested. So they're going to see that UAV, they're going to see the hab right next to it, and that's going to go down. So this is not what I would have done. The hab is technically fine. Putting it inside ammo warehouse is risky just because it's a very open area and it can get held down from longer ranges. But I would have liked to see him get his radio inside. And he also needs to get his infantry pushed out because with them not getting pushed out, they might end up losing their foothold right here. But it does look like they're starting to. So let's take a look at the Russian radio and hab placement. And it looks like okay, so this isn't bad. So the radio is covered, but something he didn't take advantage of, and it can be an advantage or a disadvantage, is when you place this hab, see how he blocked this garage? He could have blocked that garage. He could have just moved the logi and blocked that one. So then if anyone wants to dig the radio down, they got to dig this hab down 2 stages till it's to the stakes. And that's going to take him a lot of time, especially if it's a single player that's coming in here, a sapper or whatever it is. It's going to take him a lot longer to get to that radio. So if he would have shifted that over, at least it's covered from airstrikes and stuff like that, but it is still right next to the hab, so it's not hard to find. But he could have blocked it off. Both teams are doing okay on the back cap, but it looks like they do have a BMP. Ooh, and they just hit a mine. They just hit a mine in the Tiger. They're gonna be pretty much dead in the water here. Single AT shot. Oh, and they just... Did they both get out? Oh, they're all getting out, and now they're all about to die to this machine gunner. One, get back in the truck. There you go. That's the good move. 2 down. At least he's got the gun. He can do a little bit with that. He might be able to see this guy behind him. So I'm not going to try to focus on too much of the micro. I'm not going to focus on these individual engagements. I'm not casting this round. I'm not saying, oh, look at this play. I want to focus on more of the macro, more of the large movement, more of the hab placement, the flanking routes. When squads are attacking, you know, what direction should they be attacking from? Where should they be setting up shop? Sorry. when you talk continuously, words just start coming out like throw up. So there's a lot of fighting going up over here on the north side. Not necessarily bad, because technically the point could still come here in their own mind. I'm also not going to try to tell or say what people should have done based on the information I have. You know, I could have said, hey, the BMP should have never come up here because there's 3 labs here. Okay, well, he didn't know there was 3 labs here. I know that because I'm flying.
See both BMPs here or just one?
So I'm going to avoid doing things like that. I'm just going to try to focus on what people could have done better when it comes to the macro. So the Russians are doing a really good job right now. And the Canadians could easily just get rolled in this game. They need to establish. Okay, good. So they do have a logi coming down here. So they will get something established on Overgrown. Because as of right now, the Russians are starting to cap intersection. So this is a situation you guys might find yourself in a lot. So let's take a look at the map real quick and show you what's going on. Where this squad is almost getting horseshoed. Where they're getting surrounded on all sides. With the exception of this guy coming in from the north side. It's basically from west all the way south to east. What a lot of people will try to do in this situation is continually push through the pressure. They'll push out to the southwest. They'll push out to the south. They'll push out to the southeast. What they rarely do is get some standoff. So the area they know that they actually have hard cover and where the enemies can't see them is if they run straight north. They can use these buildings to their advantage. They can run straight north. They can run down this slope here. And they can loop around and they can start flanking. So if you're ever in a situation where you can't go forward and you only your only option is retreat, that's usually the best option. Because if people drop back, all of a sudden now you're back at these rocks. Now you can cover this east side. It's west now, or you can cover this side. You can drop back. You can continue moving along here. You can get across the street all the way over here. And now all of a sudden you're on the west side and you can make sure that no one's getting into your hab. But what these guys are doing is they're just pushing head on against a team that is far more fortified than they are. Looks like labs are moving up in support as well. I'm not really going to talk much about vehicles. I can talk a little bit about the vehicle fights, but a lot of the vehicle fights are information. So obviously I have more information than they do, but they're doing a really good job coexisting with infantry and also working in tandem with the other vehicles of their class, or just vehicles in general. But the fact that all 3 of them are within 100 meters of each other means that if one gets engined, if someone, you know, hops out and tries to get repaired and their crewman gets taken out, you know, this guy looks like he actually has extra people in there, so he could drop one off and the person could help him repair or get in and drive, whatever it may be. Which now they're leaving their buddy alone back here, so he needs to scoot.
Hey, 5, I just saw 2.
Let's check on this radio one more time. Oh, and he just got GL'd. All right. So they did stop it.
Somewhere. Yeah, I see it.
But they've got more people now. And this guy's going to see it, and this guy's going to get it called out, hopefully. And this is a terrible place. With the way they set this up, it's basically 2 angles can hold down the entire hab. If someone sits here and watches this alleyway, that's that closed off. And if someone sits on this road, that's that closed off. They could climb on top of the hab, I guess. Climb all the way up on top, jump on this roof, and walk down the stairs. But that's exposing quite a bit. So I think the Russians are actually going to lose this.
That's a big negative. That shit is way too hot. That hydro station's fine.
So let's take a look at hab placement again. So based on this guy running not directly towards them, I'm gonna guess he doesn't know about their position. He's just out here looking. So this is a good example of an active defense. So their defense is all the way back there. What he's doing is he's kicking out and almost acting like a tentacle, like to feel things early. So if he sees these people just off to his side, which I hope he does, maybe, Maybe.
We have one right here. We have one right here.
Maybe they're just gonna run past
Let's
each
go
other.
what we're building right now.
But if
So
he
that you
sees
wanna
his
move
people,
towards
he
us.
gets shot at, or he shoots at something. All of a sudden, he lets his squad leader know, "Hey, we've got people out to the south side." So one of the best ways to defend is yes to keep some of your assets on the defense point itself. There's no one here. They're gonna lose this super quick. The Russians are doing a good job pushing in together, and they're just getting their hab up. But that's going to be a decent hab position to just walk right onto the point. There's just no defenders out here. And these guys still have not seen each other. They're both looking opposite ways. And they've got another full squad pushing across. He's going to end up engaging them, and they might turn around and shoot him. But again, not focusing on the micro. I got to try to not focus on it. It's my inner caster coming out. So we do have one defender here, but he's running away. So he's probably not going to tell his team that they're coming. Oh, another one spawned. If they can get a little bit of an early warning sign, okay, that's an early warning sign.
We'll try to be a
If they can
distraction.
get people off the hab quickly.
Affirmative.
So, but let's take a look at the hab and the radio placement.
We're sliding to cap.
When they don't know you're coming, you can come from about anywhere. My best recommendation is don't go along the line that connects the points. If there are defenders sitting here, their cone of vision is going to be around that line. So they're going to be looking southeast. They're going to be looking north. They're going to be looking northeast. So they even could have, came all the way around to the west side. But even coming in here and they got their hab within
Can I get armor to that point, please?
100 meters of overgrown, that means that everyone spawning off this just walks onto the point. So they're going to easily take this. And then all of a sudden, the Canadians are back to their last
6, can I
cap.
get your guys to push out to defend, please?
So this is going to be also going to be interesting to show you guys how teams respond and what they can do better in response. So the first thing that's happening in response is it actually looks like they might be capping intersections. So we could see a double neutral. And for whatever reason, these guys are not digging
Yeah,
down
we're moving back to it right now. We're gonna try to hold it.
the Russian hab over here. And they're not disabling it anymore.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, they just C4'd it. I guess that's why they stepped away. Okay, so this Russian hab will go away, and then all of a sudden the Russians lose their entire foothold on the center of the map. I can't see it right now because I'm technically on the blue 4 side, so I can't tell the status of the cap, but I do think that they're going to double neutral since there's no Russians there besides one. They're going to get a decent foothold on overgrown. The only thing I'll say is in this situation,
We're just getting a rally down now. We're pushing on the point.
they could almost, since they have so much build there, they could almost dig that radio down, save those 10 tickets. Because when you dig your own radio down, you do not lose the 10 tickets for the radio.
There's a shitload of
And then
them,
move
I
it
don't know if
up
we're really doing
into the
anything.
compound. It's still in a decent spot. They're still within 100 meters. They're going to do absolutely fine. This will get taken down by an A10 or Artie or whatever.
Yeah.
But at least in here, it allows them to just keep bodies right on the point.
There's only one squad here.
Yeah, I know.
You'll be surprised what you can do with armor.
It's taking
Yeah,
them
you can-
back
yeah, true.
over here.
You have 2 pieces, not 1. So it's not gonna.
So we've got armor support here, a little bit of infantry on infantry. So now we're getting into the mid game. Now we're getting into the back and forth. The early game is over. The early game fobs have already been established or taken out. Reacting to the double neutral is something teams really struggle with. If you guys don't know, I'll give a brief explanation of a double neutral. So it takes 2 minutes, and this is going to change soon because 2.12 is introducing capture scaling, where if you have more people, then it captures faster. So it's going to be iffy once it gets to that point. But at least for right now, it takes 2 minutes to neutralize, 2 minutes to cap, 4 minutes total. If you catch both of the caps within that 2 to 4 minute range, so after it's been neutraled and before it's been capped, in those 2 minutes, if both points go to neutral in that time, it starts a double neutral. You have to capture your defense side of the double neutral before you can capture your attack side of the double neutral. To recapture the defense side of the double neutral, you need 3 people on. Not 3 more, 3. So all the Canadians need to do right now, which they're doing, if you can see, like they're heavily outnumbered here on the point, but they have 3 people here. They have 3 people here, so they're recapping overgrown. The thing that people get wrong is they overcommit to one side or the other. So they lost overgrown. Now they're panicking. All of a sudden, 40 people rush back to this point. And yes, they reestablish this, but they completely lose their foothold on the next point. And then when they go to take the next point, 40 people run from there over to here because all their priority is over here and there's no one attacking that. And then all of a sudden, you know, they get closer to the attack point and then a squad of 5 rolls in and takes their defense because no one was there. And that's what happened the first time, is everyone was focused on the midpoint and no one was on defense. Big surprise. They're doing really well with armor support, though. The labs have been rolling in. This one's on fire, actually. Where did he get put on fire from? Probably just from people at the hab. Looks like they will save it, though. There's a large Russian contingent moving in on the south side.
Enemies northeast of my position.
Doesn't... Oh, they do have a chopper. Okay, so they will get something down.
Yeah, you guys totally right. Good work.
And they still have that hab. But that hab might get lost because of the lav.
Matt V, I almost killed y'all. Or the whatever.
So the Canadians have done a decent job getting back in here.
50 and I shot
It's
back
kind of
at
weird
it.
because they haven't established anything on Overgrown yet, but they almost don't need to. They need to, yes. But since they're going to cap it and still have a strong foothold on intersection, strong is maybe a bit much. An okay foothold on intersection. They're getting pushed on the southeast. They're getting pushed on the northeast. I wouldn't say it's strong. Mediocre.
Camping
Everyone,
this
you're
hab
doing
right
a great
here, but
job.
someone needs to come
If
If
take it
they're
down.
still capping this once they reclaim Overgrown, and then all of a sudden it goes, you know, this point gets locked, and now this is their defense and this is their attack, we can see some interesting leapfrog action. So now we even got command squad from the Canadians spawning over here on school, which is good, because even if intersection kind of flip-flops back and forth because there's kind of an even amount of people here, what's more than likely going to happen is the Canadians are going to neutralize school, and then we're going to have a double neutral on the other side. And maybe not, because they just brought in a full chopper full of people, which looks like the chopper got messed up. They didn't get a fob down, and now they're stuck in the middle of a field with a few Canadians pinning them all down. If they can get out of this situation, that'll be very good. So they are capping intersection. So again, looking at like complete macro, top down, Russians need to get something on school. You always need something on your defense. Always. If you're squad leading, if you're a squad member and you look at your map and you don't have a fob on defense, again, in this game, 1 is 0, usually none, and 2 is 1. So if you only have 1 fob, it might be time to get another one. Like, it's time for them to get another fob on here on intersection. Where they put it, I don't know. Maybe they put it over here and they get their hab, you know, here just east of the river, something like that. But they need more than one option. When you only have one option, all of a sudden an A10 or a Sioux strike hits it and you're completely out of spawns. So if I'm the Russians, I'm getting a spawn set up for school. That's the very first thing I'm going to do. Because yes, getting back on intersection is important, but it is not more important than getting rolled all the way back. If I am the Canadians right now, I'm getting something on Overgrown, maybe for shits and giggles, but they're about to cap intersection, so maybe they don't prioritize intersection. They've already got a hab here at school. So I would say this is about to become their defense, and again, 2 is 1, 1 is none. Let's get a second hab up for the defense. With this radio placement, they don't leave themselves a whole lot of options, so their radio is pretty much going to have to be down here on the southwest, or if they want to have it in some actual hard cover, they need to put it west across the river.
He's coming down from your south. Turn around from police station somewhere.
And the best thing, when this gets capped, since they do have a decent foothold, every single one of these people down here needs to break contact. The second you see the points roll forward and the point you were defending or you were fighting over is now locked, and when I say locked, a locked point looks like this. When there's no attack, no defense over it, it's just a flag that is locked. That cannot be touched.
They have some sort of
The second this gets locked, because this is captured, every single one of these people either needs to move to intersection or move to school, depending on what's getting called out. If they need more on defense, then they go to defense. In my video on Monday, I talked about the command respawn. I know it's a cheesy mechanic. I don't agree with it. But guess what? Experienced players use it. So I'm gonna put out a video so that at least new players and newer players can understand the mechanics so they can use it too. I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid that you can just teleport about the map, but that's what you can do. So if I'm these guys down here, I'm command respawning. I'm out of there. It's locked now. I'm gone. I'm either getting on my horse and running. I'm grabbing one of these Vics down here. If either of those are theirs, I think that one is. And I'm getting up to intersection to help them out because it looks like we don't have a whole lot there. It's fine if they fight over school. Keeping some pressure on the attack is also is always really important. You oftentimes see, I shouldn't say oftentimes, but you can see an overcompensation or an over exaggerated defense where you have like 45 people on defense, and that's awesome. I despise when people don't play defense, but when you have all your assets on defense and you have nothing attacking, what that tells the other team, where is this hitting? It's hitting up there. That was a really good strike. That was a really, really good strike. And they've got an infantry pushing in. They've got one person back here. So remember what I said at the beginning of the game? How they put their radio and their hab right next to each other? Well, now this guy, I don't know where he's going. He needs to dig that radio back up. If he doesn't dig the radio back up, that's gone. And now the U.S. has no hab on intersection. So he's making, I don't know what decision here. But now this squad leader is just going to chill here. He's just going to watch that radio until it goes away. And now he has no chance of saving it. So that's 100% going to go away because there's no way he wins that. I'm not going to sit there and stare at it. So now the Canadians, I think I said U.S. before because I'm just used to the U.S. being the blue 4 faction on this map. But the U.S. is... I just did it again. The Canadians are going to be in trouble. He's finally coming down the stairs, but the radio's already gone. And he's going to get shot by this guy.
Watch out. The first BMP is probably back up again. Squad 7.
He's going to go pick up his buddy, and
Can you bring
too little, too late.
Chopper over me? I want to set up a heli.
So
A radio.
that is sometimes this game is a team game, but sometimes things come down to individual. Comes down to how well you can aim, comes down to how well you can possibly clutch up. Are these... How the hell did they get intermixed? I don't know.
BMP spotted. Marking.
BMP is somewhere
So,
south of school.
I'm going to go ahead and predict that the Russians retake intersection, or at least neutralize it. Because at the moment, the U.S. has zero emphasis. They've got no lodges coming out of main. They've got a chopper here, but they're not hovering over a squad leader. They're not putting enough emphasis on getting their defense established. The second they saw that hab get airstriked,
You're gonna have to hop out your.
that's when we're grabbing a logi, we're grabbing a chopper, we're doing something
Radio.
to get back there and to reestablish.
Yeah, we can do it if they if there's supplies it comes in.
Supplies are hovering right over you.
Give me some water real quick.
Eight, can you set a hab? I cannot unbugged.
Negative.
Pretty sure he just hit a telephone pole.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I don't know what he was doing. You
They're all over me, too. They're all over
got a
me.
landing camera for a reason.
Yep.
So the Canadians have the advantage right now, but I also want to look at, again, this head-to-head battle. This kind of like back and forth, no one losing nor gaining any ground, just kind of losing tickets, is what a lot of teams get caught in. So the second this happens, you as an individual need to understand that forward isn't the move. Kind of like when the hab was getting surrounded in a horseshoe. This is kind of, again, the same thing, but it's more so along a straight line, so you do have a little bit more freedom. You don't necessarily need to kick back, but you do need to kick left or right or back. So anybody coming off this hat back here, since it's already, you know, a little bit favored to the east, if I'm any of these guys, I'm kicking out to the east, and I'm continuing along this route down here. Kind of depends on the map. I have a lot of experience. Mutaha is probably one of the most played maps on every single server. So I usually understand, based on where the core of the enemies are, how far spread out the onesies and twosies are going to be. And most of the time, it's like a row or two of buildings. Like, people don't go much further. So I know if I go 2 rows of buildings and I come back here, then all of a sudden I've got a straight shot behind them. And I'll probably pick off a few people as I hear them shooting as I'm running. But that's what it takes when you're just doing these head-to-head pushes. The only thing that both teams are going to do is lose tickets. They might make some slow progress, but the progress is usually never
7, I'm gonna be setting a hab soon on my
final.
position.
Roger 4, we'll stick around and
Just waiting for Lodger to come.
Because it gives them so much time to get reinforcements and get whatever else they
If
need.
you can,
And again, the Russians are going to take intersection because the U.S. just didn't get a backup hab up. Again, this goes back to when I was talking about looking at your defense and understanding 2 is 1 and 1 is none. 1 was none. 1 got airstruck. They had the radio right next to the hab, or the radio right next to the hab. Both got taken out, didn't get saved, and now they could be screwed on the middle of the map.
At Hydro, by the way, at some point.
Another thing to take note of is now they know exactly where the next point is too.
You have supplies for repair
So
station
we've got this
noted.
squad right here getting something set up for overgrown, which is absolutely fantastic. As long as they don't get taken out, that is super, super smart. You don't necessarily need to do this with a full squad, which I don't recommend doing with a full squad, because taking 9 people away for setting up a flanking hab isn't necessarily needed, because if you're flanking, you shouldn't be noticed. But if he's going to get set up like right here, curious how far he's going to go. If he's going to go all the way into the city. I don't know if he has supplies. But getting this on the north side, or even getting it on the west side, is going to be big. And he's still kind of driving, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's not doing what I'm thinking. Oh, they are tearing that chopper apart. And there's the chopper down.
We got hit by that, and right above mine we are RTB.
All right, let's check out the fighting here. I want to see if school is in danger of being taken. Doesn't look like it. This is halfway to neutral. So whenever I say halfway to neutral, it's really hard. I'll try to zoom in post. I'm not going to move my mouse around for a second. I'm going to wait for this machine gunner to run away. All right, so if you look at the intersection, you can see the Canadian flag behind it. You can see the blue box around it. But you can see a bar right below the shield. The amount that is blue is the amount that the CAF still has. So if the CAF were to start to retake, they need to fill up the rest of the white area with blue. The Russians are basically draining the blue. Once the blue is completely drained, you'll start seeing that tick up red. But once it gets past neutral, and they haven't neutralized school, there's no way of saving it.
Yeah, like I said,
If intersection ends up getting pushed by the Canadian, or not pushed, paused by the Canadians, then they can possibly do something. But if it doesn't get paused, the second that this gets neutralized and they haven't neutralized school, they need to skip on back here. Also, I'm used to it because I stream and I listen to command comms and I talk all at the same time. Is having command comms in the background distracting? With me talking, with everything else going on, or is having command comms and hearing what people are saying, does that give you a little bit more perspective? Because for me, I'm really good at tuning that out and listening to the parts that I actually want to, and picking out what they're saying when they're talking about vehicles getting destroyed, when they're talking about, hey, we're getting pushed from this direction. But I don't know if that's distracting for you guys, so please let me know in the comments. So the Russians just went neutral, and I can't tell based on school. It looks like it might get double neutral. They might have started that. They've got a lot of people here. They've got a lot of frickin' ooh. I didn't realize that this was Canadian. This is pretty good. Pretty good in the sense that they've got a lot of people coming off of it. Not great in the sense that it's smack dab in the middle of the river, and the radio is right next to the hab again. So a BMP rolls up and he throws a few rounds of HE, and all of a sudden that hab's disabled. So not great in that sense, but... So it is double neutraled, but I think they're both recapping maybe? So like we kind of thought, it was going to double neutral again the opposite way, where the Russians retake intersection and the US is able to push on to school. If the Russians lose school at this point, the game's over. So something I do see, I want to talk about, is what I just said. If they lose that, the game's over. it's a bad mentality to get into when you're playing. I obviously, you know, I have an entire scope of the game. I know where fobs are set up. I know where vehicles are. I know where infantry is. So I can say, like, yeah, they're going to lose the game. But when you're playing, that's one of the worst mindsets you can have because there's always something you can do. The amount of games that have been brought back from the brink of, like, we've been pushed back to our last point on RAS, but all of a sudden, like, everyone gets on defense. We establish our defense. You're still a ticket bleed, but you can endure a ticket bleed for a while. And then all of a sudden you get your defense organized, and then you get a couple flank halves down. You realize that you don't have this huge time constraint. You go get some flank halves down, and all of a sudden you capture the second point, and you take out the halves they had there. And while you were doing that, you had people getting on the midpoint, and you took out their halves there. And all of a sudden the game gets flipped on its head because you didn't just give up when stuff started to get a bit difficult or when you felt like you were low on tickets. And this is strange artillery. I mean, I understand the thought process behind it, and they've basically wiped out all the Russians here. And this is where that Logi ended up going, which isn't in a bad position. They're coming in from a flanking area. So again, they expect enemies, since they've already seen that they're on the south side, they expect them on the south side, they expect them on the east side. They kind of expect them on the northeast side, but not so much. So where do they go? They go west side. Now, when you flank, you ruin the entire... The flank is over once the first person starts shooting. The second one of these Russians shoots, all of a sudden, the Canadians know where they're coming from. So the idea is to get as many people as possible all grouped up, moving together, holding their fire until they're all the way up here. And then all of a sudden, the Canadians are looking this way, and now they have 10 people behind them. But in this instance, there was 4 people, and the last one's about to die.
Hey Sam, can you come pick me up at
So,
real quick? Sorry.
Good in theory, with the flanking hab, very poorly implemented.
Copy. Commander.
Yes, please, thank you.
So they're going to recap this. It doesn't look like they're capping school, though. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Is this BMP tracked? No, he's not. Can they save their hab? They're putting up a repair station while their hab is being camped. Interesting. Does this guy know the trick? Do you know the trick? Curious. It looks like he does. You always spawn facing east instead of habs. So what he's doing is he's putting himself in the southwest corner of the hab, so that if anybody spawns, they don't spawn looking at him. They spawn looking away from him. So all he's got to do is basically look back and forth, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's just looking back and forth, back and forth. And the second someone spawns, he's just going to shoot him. And he's got a 200-round belt, so he's not going to have to reload in the middle of this at any point. But these crewmen need to come help. So good play on his part. Trying not to focus on the micro, but it is sometimes the micro stuff that changes the game. Him sitting here, not allowing any Russians to come off this hab is the reason that they can't get anybody back on intersection. Obviously, once they do get into intersection, they're dealing with, or they were dealing with a ton of Canadians, which the BMP is doing good stuff now. He's gonna get the next one too. Yeah. Just got 2 more. I mean, these, especially when this team is down to 40 tickets. Every single one of these tickets count. It still looks like no one is going towards this hab. Looks like the marksman finally is. But again, he's just taking out person after person after person. And the people inside the hab look like they're giving up too, or at least a couple of them have. BMP just got hit by a hat. He's probably gonna get him here. He does. So they will get those people back up, but that is a huge delay on the Russians, or against the Russians. And they've retaken their defense. So this is a tricky situation. So with how many tickets the Russians have left, I typically recommend, and they don't know how much the enemy has. If you feel like it's a close game, the strategy I recommend is called turtling. I've mentioned it in several videos, but I've never fully explained
Hey,
it.
squad, can you put an ammo
The
box?
idea is every person on defense. No one's attacking. Not a single person, not a single vehicle. Helicopters aren't flying over there. Everyone's on defense. All of a sudden, when you have your team super condensed on defense and the enemy is coming to you, you always have a medic nearby to pick you up. You always have AT around. If as long as you have ammo, any vehicles that come around are going to get absolutely annihilated. And you can use this to whittle away at a team. I've been in games where just, you know, with like 30, 40, 50 tickets left, we can bleed the enemy of 100 tickets. But it takes a lot of discipline from everyone on the team to do so. Because you can't have individuals running around. Like right now, they still have a lot of individuals running around, so that they're just not going to be able to do anything about it. They are making what looks like one final push with the Arty here. Let's just go check this out. And it looks okay. So the BMP did get killed. They got 4 tickets left. It's tough. And the Arty is just too little, too late. Unfortunately, kind of everything was too little, too late. So again, funny enough, that the Canadians almost got rolled back to their first point. They had lost Overgrown. And still were able to... I turned that down just in case anybody decides to say some non-TOS stuff at the end game screen. And my game crashes. So that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. All right, well, I'll just throw up some video for the end here. All right, so all in all, I think it was good. I think it was good from both sides. Even though it wasn't the closest of games, even though it was still a 140 ticket win, I think it was good. I think the reactions were a little bit lackluster, but at least the initial idea was there. The getting set up on the midpoint was there for both teams. They both one set up on the north side, one set up on the south side. The Canadians did a pretty poor job doing anything on defense, but were able to recover it. And when they did recover it, the Russian team seemed like they were maybe a little bit too far extended on attack, that now once that point got locked and they had to push back, they didn't push back quick enough. Just like, I'm not trying to make any life quotes here, but the life quote of life is 10% what you do and 90% how you react to what's done. That's a lot of squad too. You can do whatever you want, but you got to be able to react to the things that are happening on the map. You got to be able to react to callouts. You got to be able to react to the fact that, hey, I don't think we're going to be able to capture this point. We just need to drop back and do this. And that comes down to squad leaders, and that comes down to individual players to recognize that. Sometimes squad leaders are too involved and can't step away in the moment and recognize that that's happening. I think from the things that I saw the most, as far as takeaways, I want you guys to focus on where you saw hab placement, how survivable those habs were when the radio was placed right next to them versus when the radio was placed further back. Sorry, slap my mic arm. When radios are placed right next to hab, it's just, you have a 150 meter radius. Yes, sometimes when your radio is right next to your hab, it allows you to protect it. It allows you to keep everything tight knit. You can make sure that, you know, you don't have to cover such a large area to defend your hab. But also, that just makes it super easy for the enemy team. There's been plenty of occasions when I've played this game where we find the hab, but we can't find the radio. We have no idea where this radio is. We've scanned everywhere. We're running around. We put the fob creation mark down. If you don't know, you can put a fob creation mark down on a hab on a repair station. And since it shows the 150 meter build radius, you can then use that to find the radio. But I've done that before. I've searched for 5-10 minutes and we just cannot find it. And that allows you to possibly get back in there and not lose those 10 tickets. I know in the grand scheme, 10 tickets isn't a ton, but if the hab wasn't a good spot and getting it back up could be advantageous for your team, or even if it's just digging your own radio down and getting rid of it and just saving the 10 tickets, like having your radio away from your hab, I'd say 90% of the time is the better call. There are times if you're If your hab is set up inside of a building, like a big building, like ammo warehouse, for example, if your hab is inside that building, it's usually better for your radio to be in that building, since your infantry has room to move around. They have room to actually defend that area. But when it's like right out in the open, they have no area to defend, or they have no room to defend. Like they're either standing out in the open or they're just super congested. So just pay attention. Don't put habs right next to radios most of the time. Focus on when you are attacking or defending and you want to know where you should approach from to be able to do something. Think about the cone of vision. Look at the map. You don't need to know where your enemies are looking. Just know where your teammates are coming from. Seeing your friendlies push from a certain area, and you can just recognize on the map when a character goes from dark blue to light blue, that means they're getting incapacitated. If people are getting incapacitated, that probably means that the enemies are looking right at them. So you can use your team's movement to determine where you need to be or where you should be. So if let's take intersection for example. If your team is moving in from the southeast and they're just getting mowed down again and again and again, you can guess, okay, the enemies are probably sitting right smack dab on intersection and they're looking to the southeast. So what I can do is I can flank all the way around. I can take my time with it. I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand, is you do have time. There is time constraints. Sometimes it's like, okay, we need to get something up right now and start neutralizing this or we're going to lose the game. But more often than not, when stalemates are happening, which we saw a couple times there, you have time to get in a logi with a few squad mates, drive all the way around the map, and especially on Mutah, it does not take that long to drive around. It takes like 3 minutes. Drive all the way around and get something set up on the north side. And then all of a sudden you're pinching the Canadians. And now not only are you coming in on an unsuspecting enemy, but now the enemy has to choose the north or the south. Now they're splitting their attention. They're splitting their effort. They're splitting their manpower. So now your teammates on the south are all of a sudden able to make up ground. They're able to start pushing more because they're fighting less people because now you came out on the north side. So just seeing those gaps, understanding where people's cone of vision is huge. And you don't need to know what your enemies are doing. You just need to look at what your teammates are doing and just use your map. Again, that is something that I will always try to drive home, is just use your map. But I hope you guys did find this helpful. It is a little bit strange for me because the only time I've ever used admin cam in the past is usually for casting, like casting competitive matches or just casting like a live match. So I did get a little bit carried away with some of the micro stuff, some of the individual engagements, but I do hope that it helped as a whole. I think that seeing top-down stuff like that can be very helpful to understand how both teams are kind of flowing around each other at the same time and understanding how you can counter certain things. But yeah, if you want to see more of these in the future, I'm kind of working these into the rotation of the live streams with the new player match analysis, the squad leader match analysis. We're going to do some vehicle match analysis. But this one, you know, a little admin cam, little bird's eye view match analysis. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'm out.